All right, welcome back to the Level Up and Live podcast. I'm your host, Sean Myers, and today we've got an incredible guest, the man, the myth, Cody Schneider. Cody is a seasoned entrepreneur with 18 years of experience as the founder of Aquarium Maintenance LLC. He's also the owner of Frost and Fire Recovery, helping others push past limits and thrive. He's a dedicated husband, father of three, and a professor at Carlson Gracie Houston. Cody also mentors the next generation in martial arts. We're diving into the mindset, discipline, and Cody's story today. Cody, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Absolutely,
You made that sound so good.
A little bit of practice, man. A little bit of practice. Yeah. So, man, today's going to be a very special episode because you have been on the show before. You were probably my first 30 episodes, and it was, I think, top 5 out of all the episodes that we've recorded.
Nice.
So we'll have to go back and listen to that. I don't know if you went back and listened to that, but our listeners and audience highly recommends. I know you've been on this transformational journey, and I'm excited to dive into this first question for the listeners and audience that don't know you. I'm curious, what inspired you to start Aquarium Maintenance, which is your first business? And how did you turn your passion into a thriving business?
Yeah, so it all started with a hobby. My brother opened up an aquarium store when I was 14. So I worked for him all through high school and, cleaning aquariums for him in the store. And then, of course, being in sales and helping people, selling aquariums to people. We just had tons of people coming in that didn't want to clean their aquariums. So I got the idea at a very young age, like, well, I'll come to your house and clean your aquarium. So that's what I started doing. I started getting some side jobs, started working on the weekends, started working after school even to go clean people's aquariums. And then, of course, once graduating high school, I had 2 decisions to make. I'm either going to go to college, which I knew already that I was not good in school, or I could go this other route and start a business. So that's what I did. Just started stacking clients. I looked at it like, okay, if I have 5 clients right now and I'm making $500 a month, what if I get 50 clients? I can make $5,000 a month. That's more than what most people at that time, of course, 18 years ago, that was making. So I just started strategizing, right? Like I started putting the numbers together, started thinking if I get to this number, I could have this amount. That's sustainable. That's livable easily. And here I am. 18 years, still can't believe I can say that, but 18 years of just pushing through, just like anything else in life, you work hard, you push through it. And man, next thing you know, I've got 6 employees now, including myself, a secretary, and 4 vehicles on the road, running. So
that's awesome, man. 18 years in business. When I think about that, the longevity in that, most people get in business from what I've learned, and I know you've probably been aware of this as well as long as you've been in business, is they get into their business for the wrong reasons. I mean, you getting into business 18 years ago, it maybe has evolved and changed your why behind why you got into business has changed over the years. I know at least for me it has. Absolutely. The reason I got into business is because I was terminated from my employer. So I really had no choice. The other choice was to go work for somebody, which at that point I had learned my lesson because I'd been terminated multiple times. Yeah. And so being in business 18 years, man, that's so incredible. And I think it's so overlooked and underrated is the endurance behind that. And and you know this, I know this, I've been in business for a little over 10 years. Dude, it is no small feat, right? And so I'm curious with that, knowing that this is an endurance, this is a marathon when you start a business. And I know your why has changed over time, but I'm curious, man, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned about growth, resilience, and adapting to change over these 18 years?
Man, I love that. So it's just that being able to understand that every phase, every year is going to change. You're not going to know everything. I think that's why it's so important that you get coaching, you get mentors, you get out there and ultimately make a name for yourself. But also with that getting out there, you meet more people that have been in business for 40 years, 30 years. And ultimately they can lead you and guide you in ways that you never expected things that I wish I'm doing now, I wish I would have done 10, 15 years ago, because I
Mm,
know I would be so much further if I would have done just that, right? But I would say yes, my goals and dreams and aspirations, everything has changed. From 18 years ago, it was all about just chasing the money. That was the only thing on my mind. I mean, I know you can relate to this. It's
yes,
We get
yes.
caught in this, the matrix, I call it, right? Like you get caught in this. If I just have this amount of money, I'll be happy here. Or if I have this amount of money, I can do these things. But for me, it's changed so much because yes, the money is great, right? But if you let it control you, like I have before, it can ruin you, because
Mm,
no amount of money will satisfy you. And I mean that
that's
in the
right.
regards of like, there's no, if you don't learn to manage the money first and learn what your whys are, you're chasing nothing but the money. So
Mm,
I love that you brought up the whys, and you have helped me significantly with this, is figuring out that, right? Because when the hard times come up, your why is your backup. The why
mm.
is what has your back at the end of the day. So yeah, I used to think that, again, if I get here, I'll be happy, or if I get here, everyone else around me would be happy. Or I guess what I'm trying to say here.
So, in what I'm hearing you say, man, is over time it's definitely evolved. And so I think I talked about this recently on the podcast about external and internal. So external is what you're talking about. It's like the money, the accolades, the nice cars.
Yeah.
So for some people, it's the nice houses and shoes and Amazon purchases, whatever it may be. These are all externals. And so when we look internally and find that emotional, compelling nature, this is what I have found. I think you have as well. That's what allows us to be sustainable for this endurance over the long term. And I know you're in your 30s now. And if a younger version, or the old version, not younger, old version of Cody was listening to this podcast right now, and he's in his teens or 20s, maybe I'm saying 27 to 32, what does that Cody Schneider need to hear to have that wake up call? Because we both know, because we've both been there, the pride and the ego is those blinders. It's like, no, I know what I need to do. I'm going to DIY it. I'm going to figure things out, and I'm going to put my head down, and I'm going to get to where I want to go. Sure. But we
That's
both know what
great.
that leads to. So what would that person, what would that older version, that older version that you've killed, need to hear right now? What would you tell them?
Man, I would tell them, plug yourself in, get
Mm,
out there. You are not alone. First and foremost, I had that mindset for 10 years. I'm in this alone. I got this. Nothing can stop me. But then when you get to places where you do grow so big and you get knocked down, it can be devastating. But
mm,
I've learned more than anything, plugging yourself into groups, plugging yourself into like minded people. They not only hold you accountable, but they're there for you. Again, it goes back to what I was just saying. When you plug yourself in, you never know what you're going to learn. I mean, it could be one
mm,
hour of plugging yourself in around five, even just two people that have been down the same journey you're going down, and you can all pull from each other. It's incredible. I mean, being in the mastermind group lately, it has opened my eyes to so many new things and so many ways that I'm able to help these younger people that are just getting started in their business and put them 10 years ahead of their time. And I'm like, that's so much more fulfilling than making money. I mean, I'm in this whole new realm of life now of understanding that the money comes when you're doing what you love. And
mm,
and I, it's just that, like, plugging yourself into anything. I mean, you have to understand that it's when you let the money control you like I did. I let it stop me from joining those groups because it costs $200 a month or it costs $300 a month, all because I thought that's just another bill that I don't need. I can do this on
mm,
my own. But the reality of it is you go in there and you learn, and you can learn something that'll make you $3,000 or save you $3,000. And in return, pay for that group. And then next thing you know, your name's getting out there, your business is getting out there. And yeah, I wish I could have told myself that. Like, dude, you're doing this backwards. It's
Mm,
not about hunkering down and yes, I do agree. You do have to do that to some degree, right? We all do. We have to buckle down. We have to
yeah.
have our whys and line up with what aligns with us. But yeah, I would definitely tell myself to not hold back, to get out there. I was never afraid to go to groups. I was always intimidated by the money. I just wanted to hoard it and try to save. But yeah, now no way, man. Like I'm reaching out, I'm going to those groups, and I'm learning more and more every day. And the most satisfying thing is it's no longer all about me. I think that was my biggest downfall was and it's not really a downfall because it got me to where I am now. And I had three young kids, like I've raised three kids now, and it was all about me providing for them. I didn't have
Mm,
the lifestyle that I wanted as a kid. And so it drove me even more, but also hindered me in a way because again, I thought, I was surrounded around different type of people growing up. They weren't
yep.
entrepreneurs. They weren't go-getters. They were more victim mindset people, feeling
Mm,
sorry for themselves. Oh, this happened to me, so now this is happening to me. And it's like, that's so not true. I look at things, okay, this happened to me. What am I to learn from this? What am I going to grow from on this that's happened to me? Yes, it may suck, right? But at the end of the day, if you can switch your mindset and program your mind to think, what am I learning versus what just happened to me? Man, it will take you to the next level, because your mindset is everything. I mean, the way you view things, the way you look at things is all about, am I in this victim mindset or am I in this, or can I not afford it mindset? Then you're right. We are the victim of our mindset. So you got to reach out. You got to say, hey, I may want to level up here. You look into that, and if you surround yourself around people that are also doing the same thing, and even better if they've got years of experience ahead of you, man, it just takes you to the next level. So
Yeah, one of the things that I've realized because I just turned 38 and I think you're around that age as well. I've realized because I've talked to teenagers, I mentor teenagers, I mentor 20-year-olds, I mentor 30-year-olds and even 40-year-olds. And so what I've learned in this process of giving back and impacting and serving is that these 20-year-olds and even 31, 32, 33, myself included when I was that age, is that we listen to podcasts like this. We think we understand and listen to mentors that are older than us and where we want to be. But are we really listening? Are we really filtering it and using it and applying it in our life? I'd beg to differ, right? I would challenge the status quo because I was that guy. I thought I was listening to this advice and heeding it, but I just wasn't because my ego and pride was in the driver's seat. And so I think from what I've learned, Cody, is we all have to go through this pain. Like we all have to go through this pain cave. And until we're sick and tired of being sick and tired in any area of life, health and wellness, can't get out of bed in the morning, a lack of motivation, lack of energy, lack of vitality, my finances, I'm living paycheck to paycheck for 40 years of my life. I feel like we all have to go through this pain of life. And it typically, from what I've learned from business owners, it's right around that 31, 32, 33. And men don't typically peak and mature until their mid 30s. And that's when it hit me, 35 years of age. And I think you can resonate with that.
absolutely.
35 is like that sweet spot, that age where we just have this like, dude, I can't do this alone. I need to surround myself with other men that have been to where I want to go or where I'm at and that shed the light or bring in different perspective, mindset. Because like you said, when we're in that isolation, we try to do things on our own until we're 31, 32, 33. Then you get to this different season of life and go, oh, you know what? I can go fast alone, sure, but I can go further with, people in my life with similar values and interests. So transitioning into, you have two businesses, Frost and Fire. I just wanted to touch on this briefly, man. I'm curious on with your family, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But with the business side of things, how do you balance running these multiple businesses? Because I have my fair share of experiences, And it's not for the faint of heart, but how do you balance running multiple businesses while also keeping your vision clear?
Systems. You've got to create systems. It's literally that simple, yet that hard, right? Like it's every day looking at what's working and what's not working. And
Mm,
then I used to have this terrible mindset that once I get to this level, I'll create this system. And it's like, no, 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 no. Again, doing it backwards. You need to create the system no matter what that system looks like. And then what the great thing about it is, just like life, it grows with you. So I mean, it could be as simple as a dress code, for instance, for my company. I used to struggle with, hey, man, you cannot show up to basketball with basketball shorts on and go service people in $1 million homes. I need you dressed appropriately, right? So I created that little bitty system. And then as
yes.
I created that system, it grew to so much more. It could be literally that little, like, hey, I need you wearing khakis, blue jeans, and then company shirt minimum, right? And then you create that system and then it just continues to grow. So I used to have this bad mindset of, oh, once I get to this level of the company or I have this many people under me, then we'll create this system. And I would say I did it backwards.
Mm,
But yes, creating the systems, because the systems stay there. It's just like a handbook, right? Or going to school, they have a system, and they have this
yeah.
system of, first grade, you learn this, second grade, you learn this. And they've created those systems for a reason. I don't want to dive into that because I'm not the biggest believer in the school systems, but I'm just giving an example
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
create these systems. Let's be real. Look at McDonald's system and look at Chick-fil-A system.
Right.
Everyone on this listening to this podcast can understand that. You got two
Yeah.
different systems. So
Mm,
you got one that has certain values and certain culture, and then you got
mm,
another one that has certain values and certain culture. So you as a business owner get to choose what that culture is going to be. And it's
mm,
so important, because if your guys don't know your vision, they don't know what you're doing, not only for yourself. And this, I could kind of backtrack here because this is huge, because my vision used to be all about me and my family and
mm,
chasing my dreams.
mm.
And just a couple of years ago, my vision totally changed because I was tired of losing people. I was tired of guys coming in and out of my company. And I'm like,
Yes.
what am I doing wrong? I've always done this, and this is something I truly believe in, is reflecting and asking yourself the whys. Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And it's just that. And again, it goes back to when you coached me a little over 2 years ago now.
Yep.
You're like, what's your vision for your company? What do your guys know it? And I'm like, I've definitely mentioned it, but man, what an eye opener. And
Yeah.
literally that week when you and I went over it, I mentioned it in our team meeting. And the next thing you know, I'm hearing them out. And so what I've learned is not only listening to them, I've learned so much, but it's helped me again grow the vision of the company, because now it's not about me. It's about us. It's about,
Mm,
what do you guys want? Because the potential's there for them to make great money, or reach their dreams and aspirations as well. And I think that
yep.
leads us back to the beginning of our podcast here, is just that, like, creating the vision. And I can have this vision of this company, but man, has it changed so much from 18 years ago, from just 5 years ago. And I believe it continuously changes, because not only do you get new people in the door that open that vision up even more, but I think having those weekly meetings, having those one-on-ones with my guys and understanding where they're at and where they want to go, I'm able to help them reach their potential. So there's nothing
Mm,
more fulfilling than that. And
mm,
you ultimately structure your business in a way that I no longer have those guys going in and out on a monthly basis anymore. I've got guys that have been here for several years now, and they're telling me they want to be here for the rest of their lives. And it's because
yeah.
you build the culture, you build I would say, the standard of the way not
Yeah.
only I want to live and the way I want my business to run, but they too in return want that, because who doesn't want great things in their life? Who doesn't want structure that is guaranteed to pay your bills, to sustain this life that we're living in?
Man, that's beautifully said, man. And I've just witnessed this in the passenger seat, getting to witness you in this journey of your entrepreneur life, because we've known each other for some time now. And I know we've stayed connected over the years, and you've plugged yourself in. And now we're in this season of life where we want to get back, we want to impact, and we want to serve. And I couldn't agree with you more on the systems and processes. And what I'm hearing also you say is that it's also allowed you to free up your time, buy back your time, because now you have something, your team has something to strive towards, your company, your people, and you're helping them not only hit their goals, but when you help people hit their goals, right? Whether it's in the mastermind group, Cody, or whether it's in your company, what's the byproduct of that? Then you end up getting what it is that you're set out to do. Typically is from my experience and what mentors have shared with me. And it's just selflessness. It's servant leadership. And how do you do that? You have to buy back your time. You have to take your head out of the sand and out of yourself, external forces, and really look at how can I serve and impact outside of myself, create these systems and process, because I'm sure that's what you spend a lot of your time on doing now, whether it's team meetings, building leadership within your companies, having conversations. Now you're on podcast, impacting and serving. The sky's the freaking limit. I feel like you're just getting warmed up, dude. And I'm just so
100%.
honestly, honored and proud to witness, you on this journey and who you're becoming, because it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Most people just, they stay complacent, they stay content. And if they're listening to this podcast, you're not wanting to stay complacent, right? You're wanting to level up. You're wanting to be that 1% better. Transitioning into, I want to touch a little bit about your martial arts, man, Carlson Gracie, because you have just done a inspiring job on the mindset and the discipline and the growth, right? Which all ties in together around your experience in martial arts. And now, you're a professor, and it's obviously shaped your approach to business leadership and personal discipline. I'm curious, how has that experience of being a professor shaped your approach to business leadership and personal discipline?
Man, kind of everything that we just went over. For me, it was always an escape. It literally is like white noise when you step on the mats. I'm sure you can relate. When you step into the gym, it's been a hard day. It's been just a plethora of things that happen to you in life. I mean, from raising kids to running a business to dealing with employees to dealing with clients. Man, that can be a full day. What some typical people go through in 1 week, maybe even longer. For me, it was all about like, man, I can come here and relieve all the stress. And it has just transformed into so much more. It's leading people not only in their jiu-jitsu life and trying to learn how to defend themselves, or ultimately some go into it to get into shape because it's amazing cardio, but helping other business owners. I mean, I've met so many other entrepreneurs as well doing jiu-jitsu, and even people in corporate. I mean, I had a gentleman just a couple of weeks ago after class says, "Hey, I'd love to talk to you real quick." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, man. What you got?" And he's a young man, 20, 21 years old. He said, "I just got put into a position of manager, and man, I'd like your opinion on, how can I get people to take me more serious?" And I'm thinking in my head, like, wow, like this guy's literally reaching out to me from jiu-jitsu for business because, he follows me on social media. He's learned all these things of being under me and all that. Like, and I said, well, it was incredible to help him. And it was all about asking him the whys, because I used to, and I know you can relate, bulldoze people. Just tell them what they needed to know because it worked for me and you need to do it this way. And over the years, I've realized that one, we're all different. We're going to approach things differently. And then what I've also learned is that we have to figure it out in our own realm because every niche is a little bit different. So I learned mainly this strategy by being coached myself, hiring coaches like yourself to make me realize that it's all about asking the whys. I said, okay, well, did you get put into this position or did you sign up for this manager position? And he said, I did. And I got it because I'm the most efficient at my job and I'm the most accountable. I show up all the time. I'm always present and I just do my job well. I said, okay, well, why is it that you feel that people aren't taking you serious then? He said, well, I'm the youngest in the crew. Everyone else is older than me. I said, okay, well, then you need to start asking yourselves, do you really want this position? Is this position for you? And he was like, man, I haven't really thought of that. And I said,
Mm.
have you asked them or have you? So, anyways, a little bit of backstory. He had gotten into it with one of the guys that was 10 years older than him. The guy was upset that he had gotten the position over him. And I said, have you had a one-on-one with him? He's like, no. Why would I do that? And I said, well, because you need to kill the tension. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, for me, I nip things right away. If there's tension, we need to talk about it, discuss it, and figure it out, because otherwise I'm going to start thinking things. I'm going to think one way and I'm going to portray something, and it's going to
Yes.
lead to more problems. So
Mm.
for me, if I have a problem with my employee or I have a problem with my client, I have whatever, it's a simple phone call. It's a simple, hey, could you come into my office for a minute? I'd love to talk to you.
Yes. Yep.
And it was so incredible. A week later, he comes to me and he said, Cody, you won't believe it. I feel like we're best friends now. All because he pulled him into the office. He had a talk with him. They hashed it out, and it was nothing what he thought it was. The guy was not jealous or resentful. The guy had just put in more time than him.
Yeah.
And now they're best friends. They're working side by side, and now the company's doing even better because of that. So
Mm.
it can be as simple as that. I'm kind of going off a topic here. Jiu-jitsu for me, man, has led me in so many different areas. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I get it a lot. Like, man, you're an amazing dad. What's the secret?
Mm.
And that's so funny to me, because it's just like life. There is no secret. It's just like anything else. I work daily at it. I've
Yeah.
created a system. And yes, that can sound kind of weird that you would create a system to not necessarily teach my kids or raise my kids, but that is the truth. Like, I've created these systems, right, where I spend quality time with them. And that goes with every aspect of my life. So with jujitsu, when you commit and you spend that time in something, you learn, you grow. And I've realized more than anything that I can reach my highest potential by being present, being
Mm.
there in the moments. Just like this podcast, right? Like, I was nervous. Like, man, I'm not a podcaster, dude. I haven't been doing this for almost 2 years like Sean. I haven't, and I just like shook it off. I didn't even let it keep going into my head. It only lasted for like 20 seconds. I'm like, no, 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 no. And me and Sean have talked and had so many conversations. They've always flowed. They've always gone great. I'm just going to be me. And
Yeah.
that goes for jiu-jitsu, man. I go in there and I be me, and you don't realize the impact that you have on people. And I would say, again, it just goes back to plug yourself in, and especially if you love it, right? And then you'll
Mm.
start realizing that with that love of that sport or whatever, it leads you into so many other fulfilling things. Leading somebody, one little 5-minute conversation, turn this guy's whole world around because he had so much tension at his job. And if you got
Mm.
tension at work, you most likely had tension at home, and
Yes.
it bleeds into everything else in your life. So,
Two
man, there's
two things
nothing
I
more
want to tap in.
fulfilling. Yeah,
Two
go
two
ahead.
things I want to tap into. First, I want to ask. I've been wanting to ask you about the what belt are you at Carlson Gracie as a
So I'm a
professor?
first degree black belt.
First degree black belt.
Yeah,
What would you say is the hardest belt to get?
a white belt.
Why?
It's walking in there. It's getting started. Just like anything else, right? It is literally just
Yep.
getting plugged in, getting in there to get started. I have seen so many people, oh man, I want to come. I want to come. And 9 out of 10 people will not show up. So you get that
Mm.
one person, and that was me. I got invited, and it took that one time for me, and I fell in love with it. I loved the self defense aspect of it. For me, my first time walking in, I was armbarred by a guy half my size. I was around 200 pounds at that time, just solid muscle, right? Like, I was nothing but in the gym, pumping iron. And yeah, I got snatched by a 140-pound man, and he about ripped my arm off of me. And I'm like, what? This
Yeah.
is incredible. Like, and it's funny because what got me into that was my buddy, Patrick Sturgeon. We were watching some UFC fights the weekend prior to this. And I'm like, dude, I would never tap to an arm bar. Like, that's crazy. How did that guy tap to that? He's like, you ever done jujitsu? And I was like, no, I don't need to. I would have just, I don't remember exactly what I said. I was like, I would have just punched him in the face. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you think, but
Mm.
until your arm gets taken. And sure enough, the first move that's done to me is an arm bar. Like, that just goes to show you, like, yeah, I love it, man. So incredible
Well,
journey.
yeah, man, it's been beautiful. So the second part of that question is in what you're doing in that fulfillment and continuing to show up. Because like you said, 95% of the people will not show up. It's like you said, when you said white belt is the hardest one to get. Well, why? Because people don't show up. And it relates to every facet of life. I think if you're trying to level up in your spiritual journey or your business or finances or in your any area of life, health and wellness, what's the separator? The separator is the person that endures the process. They continue to show up. And so it means it's as simple as that, but it's so hard to do. And that's probably for a whole nother episode on why that is. But man, one of the questions before I roll to this next transition and we wrap things up is I'm curious because we have similar personalities and we have similar, Enneagram. We're both Enneagram 8s, which is a personality test and talks about your core desires and your fears and what makes us tick. And it's a really eye-opening personality
Which I
assessment.
recommend for everyone to do. You will learn
Yes.
so much about yourself. This
Yes.
past year, I've learned more about myself than literally the last 36 years of my life. And it's because I
Mm,
dove just into that, right? Like you
mm,
find yourself creating all these systems and implementing everything in your life. And then you kind of find yourself going, okay, I see on paper this all looks great, but what do I do now? Right? Like,
yes.
where do I go with my life now? And
Yes.
for me, I got so wrapped up in family, so wrapped up in business, so wrapped up in all these accolades and dreams and things I'm chasing that I'll be honest, man, I got a little lost. And
Mm,
so finding and doing just that, finding out what you are, who you are, what type of personality you are, what love language you are, man, is so important. So for anyone listening, if you are lost, man, I would highly recommend dive into you, dive inside, quit trying to reach the things outside of you, because the
mm,
reality of it is you have no control over that stuff. You have full control over you.
mm.
And I know for myself, I got so caught up in those things that I lost track on me, what my true feelings were, what I was really desiring to seek and fulfill for myself. And I tried to get that out of other people, man, even my wife, right? Like I tried to, get those feelings and emotions from someone else, when the reality of it is that, man, only you can fulfill that. You and God, like you got to have that.
Yes.
Because you're
Yeah.
not you're not going to do it from outside things. That's 100%.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
1000%
interrupt
on
you
that.
there, brother.
No, you're fine. 1000%. I agree with you. And you hit the nail right on the head. And so with our personality types, what I was getting to was a lot of times, whether it's coming through podcasts, community groups, mastermind groups, any interaction that we have with people in our different environments, sometimes we can be, people call us, whether it's intimidating or not approachable or bulldozer or very strong personality or just always on the drive. I don't know if you resonate with some of those things, but I'm
Oh yeah.
curious with you, man. People that listen to this podcast, they're always on the go. They're leveling up. They're trying to live their best lives. They're always forward thinking, backwards planning. At least I hope they are. And wonder, like, being self-aware on how they can level up and be 0.01%. Well, to people around them, their family, their friends, their community, their maybe employees, team members, they're like, holy smokes, this dude's brain never turns off. So I know I've struggled with this over the years because I'm obsessed with it, Cody, and I absolutely love it. But for the people around me, I've had to really align. Like, not everybody's going to show up like Sean and have the vitality and the energy, right? And so that can be overbearing for some people. So I've
Yeah.
really wanted to find my community, hence Level Up and Live, right? Because similar values, similar beliefs. I'm curious with you, though, with your team, Carlson Gracie, in these different areas of life and environments that you're in, I'm sure you maybe come across in a similar way to these individuals. How do you deal with that with these individuals that are providing feedback, or maybe they haven't provided feedback, but have you had some of that resistance on people are like, hey man, you're constantly driving, you're constantly like,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm curious
I think
how,
it comes down
how do you
to,
balance that?
I think it's emotional awareness, man. It's paying attention to who you're talking to.
Yes,
For me,
that's good.
again, it was always the bulldozing. It was always the, man, do this, it works. And it's like, It's such the wrong approach. I had great intentions, and I know 100% that you can relate to this because we're exactly the same in this sense. And this is why I value you and our friendship so much, because you have helped me with just that,
Mm,
realizing that it's not about the bulldozing. Yes, I have the most pure intentions. I want the best for everyone around me, but it's more or less finding out who they are first and then guide them, ask them
mm.
the questions so that they can in return figure it out for themselves, because that was my journey. That was the way I approached things. And
Yes.
I'll tell you, being coached helped me realize that the most. I mean, I've had a marriage coach, I've had you coach me, I had another business coach,
Mm,
and they make you realize just that. And it's you. Everything comes down to you, how you portray things, how you look at things. But
mm.
more than anything, it's just that I don't want to be a bulldozer. I don't want somebody going, and I get them so excited while we're talking, and then our conversation leaves. They go out the door and they go on about their life, and they go, "Man, that was really exciting while I was there, but man, I feel drained now." And the reason they would
Mm,
most likely feel drained, and I felt this as well, especially with you, is why am I feeling drained? Well, it's
yeah.
because you peaked yourself to such a high energy of excitement and all these other things. And then reality hits you and you go, man, that's a lot of work to work on with what they were talking about. So instead,
Yep.
it's like taking those baby steps, man. It's
Yes.
going, okay, I learned X, Y, and Z. And I know for myself, and I wanna say this for everybody listening, write
Mm,
things down. I know it
yes.
seems so simple, but when you don't, for myself, when I wouldn't write things down, it would do just that to me. I get
Mm,
very high and then I dip down very low. And not low in the sense of like I felt sorry for myself or anything, or I can't do this. It was just like, God, this weight feels so heavy, like, and it was because I would put so much on myself after learning something. But instead now it's more of like, man, those are great topics, those are great ideas. I write them down. And then for myself, I pencil out 30 minutes to an hour every single day to work on just that, things that I want to improve on, things that I want to grow in. And that could be my personal life, my business life, but I dedicate that time every day to work at just that. So I don't get overwhelmed. I don't overanalyze things. I don't brush things off. Let me touch back on the beginning here of
Was there a time talking about writing it down and journaling? Do you have an experience or a time where you wrote something down and when you wrote it down, it made the biggest impact or difference in your life when you wrote that down and then
man,
reviewed it?
yes. Yeah, 100%. I
You
mean,
mind sharing that?
in all aspects of my life. I mean, jujitsu, writing notes down, technique, moves, business, writing down more when something happens, and instead of getting frustrated about it, writing it down and then creating a system behind it. When
Mm,
you do that, it leaves little room for error after that, right? And it
yeah.
goes back to lining up with your standards. If you create a system, you stick with the system until the system either continues to improve and or does not suit your vision for your company. And 9 times out of 10, it's just going to grow. The system grows and it
Yeah.
evolves just as we do. So yes, writing things down, man. And it could be just scribbling, literally just writing what's in your thoughts. Getting it on paper for myself, it is a huge relief in knowing that I think more than anything, being able to analyze it, look at it and go, man, I'm in control of all of these things. These are out of my control. And I literally can just let it go. Whereas before it would hold on to me. I would lose sleep over it.
Mm,
Not
yes.
anymore. Does not happen. And I hope it never does again, because at the end of the day, it does not matter. You control what you can and let the
Yep.
rest go. That's all there is to it.
It's all meaningless. It's all meaningless, right? And
Right.
so that's beautiful, man. Well, we'll wrap things up, but I did want to get this question here. So what's next for you, man? What is it? Any big goals, any big projects you're working on?
Man, I am. I'm 18 years in business, and after speaking with a few people, they're kind of blown away by this. But I've never done any type of advertising, so we're really stepping the game up and really getting our name out there on social medias as well as our website. We're going to be updating the website. It hasn't been touched in a handful of years now. But really just tackling advertising. I've never been in that realm. Word of mouth and just doing a great job has gotten me to where I am today. Forever grateful for it.
Yes.
But I'm ready for the next level. We're really looking to do more installs. The maintenance crews are packed. We're doing great there. Now our goal is to ultimately start building and creating more aquariums for
Dude,
businesses and homes. So
that's beautiful, man. Well, you're going to be excited because we've actually got a marketing agency owner that is starting in the Level Up and Live 4-week free trial starting this Friday. So I'll introduce you to him.
Can't
Yeah.
wait to meet him, man.
Yeah, his name's Matt. So we've gotten together. He really knows his stuff, man, and been in business for over 20 years. So super. And he's actually going to be on the podcast in a couple of weeks from now. So
awesome.
Man, wrapping things up, brother. Listen, today, I feel like I could talk to you for hours. I know me and you talk about this all the time. So I really appreciate all your energy, time, and effort today. You saying yes, sharing your vulnerabilities, your struggles, your trials and tribulations, your wins. I know it's going to be nothing but value for our audience and listeners. And so we want to support you. We want to give back. And that's what we're all about at Level Up and Live. How can our audience, how can our listeners, how can Level Up and Live, how can we support you, man?
Yeah, man. So all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, we're on Aquarium Maintenance LLC. You'll see our pictures. You'll see a picture of me on there, so you'll know it's us. The great thing about my business, it's a very niche business. So you Google Aquarium Maintenance and we're going to be on that first page. So and being in business for so long, we're ranked number 1 on there too. So give us a follow. And man, if anybody's interested in aquariums, you know where to go.
Awesome. Very cool, man. And we'll have all this, we'll have the links in the show notes so you guys can go and support Aquarium Maintenance LLC and Cody Schneider. So Cody, thanks again for being on the show today. Thank you for spending this time with us. This is invaluable information. Folks, friends, community, podcast family, if today's episode resonated with you, please make sure you subscribe, share this with somebody that needs to hear it. And please leave us a review. This is what helps us organically expand. We don't do any paid advertising at the moment. So until next time, keep leveling up and living your best life. Thanks, Cody.
Thanks for having me, brother.